The Tellman and Fellman Show. My name's Harris Fellman. We are being joined by an incredibly special guest, and we do mean in the short bus kind of way. Just kidding. Please give it up for. Oh, not yet, not yet. I'll do an intro in a second. I lost my mind because there's so much of me on the screen. This is a good hint at who's going to be joining us and what he's about. Of course, it's the Tellman and Fellman Show, episode 60. My name's Harris Fellman, and that guy.
I'm Tellman, and we have a very special guest, Ori Bengal, and he's a cool guy. What makes him cool, Harris?
He's a creative force. Ori Bengal is a creative force whose art transforms lives, known for translating life stories, visions, and even dreams into epic paintings. His work moves audiences to tears. His journey is as unique as his creations. After discovering his artistic identity at the age of 35, he's crafted art daily for over 4,000 days in a row every day, landing his portfolio on the moon and working with legends like Alice Cooper and William Shatner. Ori's focus on philanthropy, storytelling, and innovation has made him a sought-after speaker and artist. Discover his extraordinary art at theartofori.com. We'll put that up later, and prepare to be inspired by his transformative vision. I'm super, super excited to interview you and talk to you. I love just talking to you. We all know each other pretty well, apparently. So please welcome Ori.
That's right. Welcome, Ori. It's great to have you here with us.
Yeah, it's really good to be here. Man, I've just been smiling from ear to ear from when you guys invited me. I was like, both of you guys in one room? I'm sure that's what she said. But, I haven't seen both of you guys in one place in ages. So, yeah.
That's kind of why we're doing the show, honestly. I don't know if how much Tellman's talked to you, but because nobody's seen us because basically we've all been around for 18, 20 years, whatever it is. Kind of, there was a little community of internet marketers that were built, and Tellman and I got back together and started doing some stuff together, and we thought, let's reach out to our old friends and some new ones as well and see what their origin is. Oh, look at that. You can't spell origin. Can't spell origin without Ori. Your origin
story without Ori Bengal.
Yeah, it's funny. I started looking up. I was looking for this piece of art that Ori made for me a couple years ago. Today I was looking for it, and I type in Ori, and my computer wanted to tell me about Oriental massage. That's where it went with. And I was like, no, Ori Bengal. And then there's a song called Ori Bengali. And I was like, so
well, you got to send me that one.
I don't know. We got to hear that one sometime. But let's play it, everybody. No,
that's a new theme song.
So Ori, we like to talk about past, present, future. And I mean, I'm really excited to talk about this, 4,000 days of art. I mean, I knew about that, but I'm going to ask you, what is your origin story as it relates to how did we all cross paths? Can you still hear me even though we're just looking at your art here?
I did that. Sorry about that.
You want to talk about some of these pieces or just?
Oh, well, if I move out of the way.
The dogs.
So the dogs are.
Oh, never mind. Tellman wasn't listening. He made you small now.
No, I'm working on it. Sorry about this. Small. All the controls are being all funky and weird today in here. Everything's acting up.
No, yeah, okay. All right. Well, let's talk about that another time. Tell us your your origin story as it relates to this.
Part of it is what. I was born in Israel. No, but the Israel thing does count because I didn't know English because we speak Hebrew over there, or as I like to call it. And, what happened was my dad had this huge sci-fi library, or now I call it a couple of bookshelves. But when I was a little kid, it was massive. And I couldn't read these book titles because they were in English, but I would stare at the covers, and I suspect, in hindsight, that that's where my love of art and stuff came from. Because if you look behind me, right, it's all bold, colorful, like space stuff, aliens, dragons, and as a little kid, I mean, I wish I had that kind of imagination. When you look at it and you transport it into that thing. And I knew I always wanted to make my own worlds. I didn't realize that I never thought of myself as an artist, though. I just wanted to have, as I grew a little older and older and we moved to the United States, I wanted to have careers in like 3D animation. Or I knew I wanted to
How
make.
old were you, Ori, when you moved to the United States?
We came to the States on my 9th birthday, December 16, 1985. So
Okay.
we always figure out how long have we been in the States? How old's Ori? Subtract 9. I'm 48, so subtract 9. There's 4 kinds of people in this world: those that can do math and those who can't. So figure that out. And so yeah, I was always studying, trying to make like video games and cartoons because that's the stuff I liked as a kid, and that's why I never thought of myself as an artist. I was just like taking on skills to get better at making video games, cartoons, and that kind of stuff. And I was always good with computers and that kind of stuff. When I was 25, when I was in high school, I had a sketchbook like a lot of people, and I showed my art to some friends, and they laughed at me because I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know perspective and foreshortening and all that stuff, and so
you didn't know not to ask your friends.
Yeah,
I didn't know not to ask my friends,
and they didn't know not to be jerks, right? It's like
well, but that's part of the journey. I wouldn't trade anything in, and so but when I was 25, I wasn't showing my art to people, but I was still making some of it here and there just for the fun of it. And this girl I was dating came over because that's what you do when you're dating. I mean, amongst other things, and so she saw my art, and she actually even snagged the piece and took it without me knowing. And she showed it to her mom, and she tells me like, "Oh my God, your stuff's so good." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know if I trust her judgment. I mean, she's dating me. How good her hand of judgment really be?" But she said, "No, no. I showed that raver piece to my mom, and she works with all these galleries." I'm like, "Whoa, she's not dating me. She works with galleries." Sounds like a full blown expert. I met her, and basically she says, "Dude, your stuff is amazing. You're genuine artist. Like, you have to do an art show." And this is before Google was big. This is like in 2001, and so I couldn't Google. What do I do with an art show, or how do I prep for one? So I just used common sense or intuition. And so I borrowed my buddy's trade show booth for SIGGRAPH, which is this giant monstrosity made of metal. And I had my art framed and matted and laminated. And I show up with this. It wasn't even a real art show. It was one of those like First Friday things, something you just art walk, you just go to kill the time. The weather sucked, so no one showed up. And when I got there to set up, it was me with this giant thing and like a couple little old ladies with like a card table and some beads. And I'm like, oh shit, I think I overdressed for this party. And the bottom line is, I didn't know anything about art other than like how to make it, which is, from the inside. And what happened was I did know a bit about business, which is I didn't sell anything. It didn't matter that it's like because no one showed up and do other stuff. Bottom line, I didn't sell anything, therefore I must not be an artist. Mm-hmm. So I stopped making art. Now, 6 years later,
you must be an artist if you didn't sell anything.
Exactly. I mean, Van Gogh died penniless and almost earless, but he was halfway there. And so what happened was 6 years later, I gave away my stuff and went on a road trip, which is about when you guys met me. You guys met me 8 years later. No, 7 years later. Yeah. And, I gave away my stuff and went on a road trip completely based on whose couch I'm crashing on next in order to figure out where I'm renewing my lease. I left from Fort Lauderdale, and that road trip ended up lasting 6 years because it was so much fun. And I had a couch surfing Ori.com.
I told my girlfriend this morning about your couch surfing Ori business cards that you used to give out with all the scantily clad babes surrounding you.
On one side, I'm wearing a suit and my hair's combed back, and I'm doing the thinker pose on a couch. On the other side, I got 4 lingerie models
That's
ripping my shirt off. My hair's in cornrows. Like I have my camera, and so it was amazing though, because on that journey, I learned everything because in 2005, so 2 years before, or a year and a half before I went on this trip, I discovered audiobooks, which absolutely changed my life. So I will tell your listeners, viewers, if they're not learning as fast as they can, try other modalities. For me, books did not really work. Apparently I'm a little ADHD, and so by the time I read one paragraph, my brain's already thinking like 20 paragraphs ahead and analyzing it and all that stuff. So one of the first books I went through was When Friends and Influence People, which had sat on my bookshelf for 10 years. I didn't get, I mean, even an audiobook played at 2x speed. It's still a slow read, because it's from like the 1930s or something. But I was like, whoa, this is powerful stuff. Wow, I can't believe I didn't read this. I mean, I can, but I can't, this is, and so I became an addict, and like for new information. And then, I discovered seminars. And so I was always an outsider. Like, although I was friendly and I always get along with people, but I never quite felt I belonged. And then I did feel I belonged when I discovered the world of internet marketing, because here's a bunch of other people who like to work in your underwear, as they say, just work from home, on your own terms. And everyone was kind of self-taught. You might buy a course, but there was not like all these people that were
especially in the early 2000s, like everybody was self-taught pretty much. Like
you had to invent this stuff. Like everyone figured it out, and everyone would you'd buy one course, but then you'd leapfrog. You'd be like, oh, I figured out this thing, and I made Jonathan Herbert. What's up, buddy? I didn't realize we were gonna be saying names. This is so cool. This is what I was saying. Just you guys just inviting me gave me like the endorphins, the serotonin rush of it. Oh my God. Here's another person, Emma Smith. They have a painting. Her husband Tony just yesterday showed me his phone back wallpaper is still the painting that I made of their kid Pippa like a couple years ago. And so, but this is like,
hey, Herbert, we're still meeting today.
And but yeah, to try and stay on track. What happened was I went couch surfing, and it enabled me. I was driving between 4 and 20 hours a day usually. Oh my gosh, this is, I want to start crying. I'm seeing like everyone. This is like a homecoming kind of thing. Do I have a tissue or anything? Sleeves. Nature's tissue right here, buddy. And that's why do you think I grow out my hair, just in case I have to? Oh, it's getting windy. Oh,
rub it in. We can't wipe our tears.
I got enough hair for all three of us. Don't worry.
That's right. But crying your hair, Ori, next time we see you.
Yeah, I'll sell you something. Forget those kids with cancer for locks for love. I'll just send you guys. I was saving for that. No, but so I went couch surfing, and while I was driving, I listened to the whole time I was driving. I would listen to, just audiobooks and courses, and everyone that I stayed with, because they knew that I was doing this, they would give me their entire collection. So I guess it's piracy, first of all, and second of all, it's like the generosity of others. So I always had more and more, and I was staying with, because I'm me and I'm an oddball and stuff. And I got to stay with literally the people who are writing the books. Like I stayed with Perry Belcher and and I stayed with, Jason Moffat and Matt Basak and all these people. And so I got a lot of their followers were following me. Like, that's not why I did it. I did it because I was looking for where I wanted to renew my lease next. But, it was like it was a choose your own adventure. And I ended up staying in Austin for a couple years, and Austin got a little too big. So then I kept bouncing around, and I'm still bouncing around. It's hard to stay in one place when you're just used to bounce around when you're like, so a couple of days ago I was in Austin for a couple months. Now I'm in Fallbrook, California. And even this, I was like, do I go here? Do I go to Mexico? Like, do I like it's confusing, I fucked up my life, but it gave me out of everywhere I've been, internet marketing was the community, the tribe, where I finally felt accepted and I finally felt like myself. And it was Tellman.
So what did you initially get into internet marketing for? To figure out how to sell art?
Nope.
No, I didn't even realize I was an artist until the very end of my couch surfing adventures. I was 35 at that point. I started at 29. I was in Maui, and my friend Craig Allen took me to some galleries. So after I didn't sell anything at that initial art show at 25, that wasn't even like a real art show, but I didn't know any better. I stopped making art and stopped, and I was like, yeah, see, I knew it. I'm not an artist.
So during your couch surfing years, I mean, that was your business in a way, right? Like, couch surfing Ori was like, that's what you were using the internet for in a way. Was there any product sold through that, or just getting a place?
No, it was photography, I guess, would be one, because that's how I got started. At the time, before I left, I was working for onemodelplace.com, the world's largest at the time online community for models and photographers. And so that's who I started with.
Access to those lingerie models.
Yeah,
exactly. Now we get it.
Now we understand.
Oh yeah. And the lingerie was actually lent to us by Playboy, who does not lend their lingerie out. But again, I'm Ori, so it's like the laws of physics don't really apply to me,
Ori, I had the same experience with the internet marketing community. Like most groups of people that I've ever been part of, I've always really felt like an outsider. And that honestly is included in the personal development and self-improvement, even the hypnosis community. But the internet marketing community is literally the only community that I felt surrounded by people that were kind of like, even though we all have different personalities and backgrounds and ethnicities and all the stuff, like it's the only community that I've felt consistently like I was genuinely part of, like in my life, I think, So,
me too. I don't know if it's, I don't think, I probably couldn't say it's the only, or it was even at that time was the only, but I certainly felt that they were my people. And when I set out before internet marketing, when I left Florida to go to LA to be an actor, I also, wait, is that true? Yes. Sorry, I left and came back as well. I left and came back, but I remember I worked for Galacticom. I mentioned that before. I ended up working for a company called iBill, which was one of the first payment processors, online payment processors. And I remember telling all the nerds there, fellow nerds, that I'm going to start a virtual business. This is before it was possible to do that, and I tried, and it was too challenging, and I ended up with 15 employees all working in the same building, rather than that, which is it. But then eventually, I got back to it, but that's what I was calling it, a virtual business. So anyway, I'm super interested also in the kind of digital nomad. You're a very early digital nomad, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm considering now. I've wanted to do that. That's kind of what set me off to go, live in Costa Rica for a bit and live in Spain. I don't know if I've told you, but I live near London now. Right now, I moved. I got tired of the perfect weather in Barcelona, and but anyway. So I kind of realized, like, what I want to do is I want to live in London and in Barcelona at the same time. And then I had this realization this week. I'm like, hold on a second. I set out to be a digital nomad 20 years ago before my kids were born. And maybe that's what I want to do. Maybe I want to be able to, and whatever length of time you go somewhere for a month or for 2 months, it's just, yeah, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, there's this back when Twitter was starting, and I was big on Twitter, and I remember it was this Soul Travelers 3. It was this pair of parents and their kid, and they just went everywhere, and they were homeschooler, and
Yeah. Road school, we called it. Yeah. I
road
looked into it.
school, road school. I like it, yeah. And I mean, she was playing like violin for kids in Egypt and Africa, and like what a life this kid is gonna have, as
Right.
she grows up, because having, gotten to explore all these cultures. I get along with everyone everywhere I go, and I can blend with everyone because as I was driving, like I said, I listened to hundreds of thousands of hours of audiobooks and courses, and I've stayed with and met all these different people. So it doesn't matter what you throw me into, I can adapt, I can connect with anyone, and I like to. I'm genuinely interested. When I started, I was an entitled little shit. I was a lot more self-centered. Now, when I show up somewhere, I just want to be of service. Sometimes too much, like to where I blow off my own stuff. Like I just want to help. I had all these skills. I used to think it was like because I like to show off, but no, now it's not about that. It's now I got all these skills, and I can just help anyone in any situation. And it's amazing. And I will say, talk about from past to present. First of all, I want to give a huge shout out to Tellman, because he was the first person who's like, because you said, why did I get in internet marketing, Harris? Because I loved all the people, and I loved learning, and it was innovative. I'm drawn to innovation, and it was constantly like, what, each course, each module, each conversation, even in this community, was like, this is superpowers. I can do
Right.
that. What? It sounds
Right.
kind of, and a lot of it was easy in the old days. Now it's like you got to plug all these things. The technology is easier to plug these things, but there's so much more that you have to do now, right? You got like 20 social medias that you have to stream onto and blah blah. But at the time, it was like everything was new and shiny and exciting, and so yeah, I
You were
guess
going
you
to
could.
say that you wanted to give a shout to Tellman. So was there something
I
specific?
did, because he was the I was in the community for about like 4 years before I actually did anything. And Tellman had told me, like, probably like 2 years prior to that. He's like, dude, just make an ebook, do something for, like, do your WordPress sites, because I was paying my bills for couch surfing, or so I would make websites when I go places. Like, dude, just make an ebook, put a line, just be making money while you're driving and stuff. And when I finally did make a course, my first product was called, Make WordPress Easy. And I even won an award at the, famous Traffic and Conversion Summit.
Yeah.
And it's the only trophy I have in my life. I'm not good at anything else.
I would argue that you have a lot of trophies that look like this.
That are up on people's walls everywhere.
Dude,
Yeah.
this is I have a reactions reel. I have a video reel. I sent it to you yesterday, Talman. I don't know if you had a chance to look at, but
I didn't
what
actually look at it yet. No.
no, it's okay. It's the great thing about doing 4,000 days of consecutive days of publicly posting your art is that it builds really thick skin. My feelings can't be hurt these days. I have them, unlike, unless you, of course, you ask any of my ex-girlfriends, but I do have feelings, but they can't be hurt because I have a really thick skin. But if
Ori,
you,
I want to talk about this for a second,
yeah,
right? Like, I fully agree on the thick skin part. My question for you is, most of my friends, like most of my local personal friends that are outside of the business world and outside of the marketing world, like in the rest of my life, pretty much are all artists, right? The vast majority.
oh,
And that's always been the case, right? And I find that not just artists, but lots of people are not fully committed to their work or their business, and often just don't put in the effort necessary in order to really go, like, in order to really be there with it. And a lot of more creative types tend to use ADD or being easily distracted or all these other things, learning disabilities, executive functioning problems, as an excuse as to why they are unable or unwilling to really be consistent in showing up for their work and their business and being consistent in whatever it is in their life. But in this case, we're talking about being an entrepreneur. And so, how the heck did you do it, Ori? Like, in all seriousness, being a creative scattershot, like all over the place. Yeah,
I was going to ask also, what was the impetus to do it? So going back, you said up until you were 35, you didn't consider yourself an artist, and then so what happened, and what was the impetus to start
doing art
a daily art?
It's the same answer for both of those. I never considered myself an artist, and then when I was 35 and I was couch surfing, my buddy Craig Allen invited me to go to Maui, and I'd never been to Hawaii, so I was like, yeah, of course. It's like, yeah, do a website for my girlfriend, and I'll get you tickets. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah. And he wanted to take me to, it's like, oh, I got to take you to Lahaina. There's all these galleries. And I was like, oh, yay. Because I'm not an artist. So, screw like art stuff, right? Because, it's a mental thing, right? Well, I didn't bring it up, and I was there for 2.5 months, and he only remembered like 2 days before I had to fly back to the mainland. He's like, "Oh no, I'm such a terrible friend. I didn't take you to the line." I'm like, "Oh no, it's okay. I had a good time." Oh. He's like, "No, we'll go tomorrow." So we go.
Yeah,
we have a
you're
couple mimosas, and
yeah,
yeah, let's go. But we walk into the first gallery, and I just, wow. Like they had to drag me out of there because I was like, wait, but I was still looking at it. And then we go into the second gallery, and I'm looking around, I'm like, not to be a dick, but I think I can do better than a lot of these guys. Like, yeah, I might have to shake some of the rust off because I haven't done any art in like 10 years. But I was always being creative. I was doing photography, video editing, motion graphics, 3D animation. Maybe not stuff that I consider art, but it's all skills. It's all meta skills and stuff.
Right.
And so, but the third gallery, I'm looking at the prices, and I'm like, these are not starving artists. That's the word that's often associated. People hear artist, starving, and I'm like, wait, oh, maybe it's because it's a tourist trap. Okay. And by the fourth gallery, I just felt heartbreak. I felt like, like that feeling like when someone breaks up with you and you had no idea that it was coming. And you're like, oh. And I realized, oh man, I'm an artist. I've always been an artist. I just,
yeah, dude. Like I hadn't ever seen your art, but like I absolutely knew that you were an artist from the first day we met. Like there was no, I didn't even question it. Like
people stop me on the street and ask me if I'm an artist or a rock star, and I pull up the picture of me with that painting of Alice Cooper on stage with Alice Cooper. I'm like, well, actually, I'm an artist that hangs out on stage with rock stars. They're like, ooh, but it's a fun card to play. Not playing off your turf, Harris, who
That's
actually
fine.
has fun cards to play. But people can stop me on the street and ask me if I'm an artist. Like,
okay, so you had an awakening in Hawaii.
I realized,
I think I am a fucking artist.
I am a fucking artist, and I realized that, like, the feeling, that pain of like, wow, for a whole decade, I have not done the thing that makes me happy, the thing that I do for me, the thing that I do. You don't hear parents on their kids like, oh, you should go be an artist. You'll make a lot of money. They're like, oh, go be a doctor, go be a lawyer, go to school, go whatever. It was like, no, this is the thing that we are all born natural creative geniuses. We're all making art when we're kids. You don't need to give a kid art supplies. They're applesauce, they're mashed potatoes. That is a thing. And the wall, the couch, the car, your clothes, that becomes their canvas. We all get yelled at for being artists. And we stop at Well, you're a hypnotist, Tellman. You know that this conscious mind starts forming when we're 7, ends when we're 25, but so around 10, we start forming our own identity, which is why kids start being, annoying and troublesome when we're teenagers, because we're forming our own identity. We're trying to find out who we are. And at that point, when we do that, we also compare ourselves to everyone else, which is far more dangerous now with social media and the news just hammering down what we should be. Oh, look at the stuff that everyone else has that you don't. Look at the art. And you look at artists like Jackson Pollock, right? Everyone's like, oh, I could have done that. Yeah, but you didn't. And you know what? You weren't doing that when you were like 3 years old. You were taking your mashed potatoes and your peas and you were splattering them on the wall like Jackson Pollock. But unlike Jackson Pollock, you weren't charging $50,000 for it as a kid. You just got yelled at for it. So the thing is, all these creative geniuses are doing the same. All these people that are, world class artists, like a lot of them are doing the same shit you were doing when you were a little kid, but we stop because we're judging ourselves and all that stuff. So, I was at 35 years old. I realized, wow, I tried something once that I knew nothing about, and it didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go. Boo-hoo. Forever said, I'm not an artist.
Well, it's
art.
easier not to. It's easier not to get rejected again. It's you got lucky and you were able to try it. So now you get to live your life saying, yeah, well, I tried it, it didn't work. And now you don't have to put yourself out there again and risk, rejection, which for sure. I mean, everything I've read on artists, and I don't just mean painters, I mean writers and performers, like rejection it goes hand in hand. Like you're doing it and you're ultimately doing it for you, right? You're at the end of the day, and then you're really the people that enjoy it are who get to enjoy it. I am in England, Gemma. But Ori, you got a couch? I wouldn't sleep on this couch. It's horrible. But I'll buy you a blow up mattress.
Well,
come to London,
if
bro.
I'm going to England, the first place I'm going is to visit Gemma and Tony and Pippa and Theo and oh my god, ridiculous. But yeah,
Ori, you have a very loyal and interactive following. You're getting a lot. You're getting a lot of your friends to
but
comment.
That's a big part of it. We see ourselves one way. Every single person sees us differently.
That's right.
There is no two versions of us alike. Like I see you one way, Harris sees you one way. Hester sees us one way. Everyone sees us a different way. And the thing is, like, a lot of times we don't. We don't see ourselves the way that everyone else. That's right. I couch surfed with Suzanne Thomas, and
Suzanne didn't like my comment about commitment.
No, she's afraid of it. No, but here's the thing.
So yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
To go back to finish your answer, your question, to answer your question about like what is it that it takes for commitment.
Wait, what gave you the idea to do
art every day? When Craig took me to that gallery and I went to, by the time I went to that 4th gallery, I just had that heartbreak and I realized that I am an artist. I said, oh my gosh, for a whole 10 years, I have not done the thing that's my thing, and, just because I tried something once and it didn't go the way that I thought I was going to go. Thankfully, I was more persistent when it came to learning to walk. I didn't get that right the first time either, but here's the thing. So I said, fuck, 10 years, that sucks. I got to make up for that. Like this is not okay. Like I can't have that feeling again. And so I vowed that I was going to make a new work of art every day. And I did. And that lasted 2 weeks. And
okay, this is good. We're getting to the meat of the story. So you started off with 2 weeks.
2 weeks, and then I got back from Hawaii, and I that's when I launched make couch surfing easy. That's my next course. So it's great for this, for inflation and recession and all the stuff we're going through right now. It's a killer. People go, you use the last of your COVID stimulus, get
That's
my
right.
course, and now you won't have to pay bills. No, what happens is I made Make WordPress easy, and it launched, and it did really well. And Ryan Dice launched it to his own list. First it was, and all this stuff, and affiliates and all this, and I had to stop couch surfing. That's what
Right.
ended the couch surfing origin. But I had to take care of my trip. But
Have to take care of your what?
then I had to take care of my course, my clients. I had to
You
do
had to be
customer support. I wear all the hats and stuff.
Right.
And so what happened was that I brought my younger brother in. At the time, he did not believe in himself, and he's genius, Itai, and so he's in Austin right now. I brought him to Austin, and I took him to personal development stuff, and I introduced him to stuff. And one of the things I took him to was called Life Book in Chicago.
Oh yeah,
and
Lifebook is awesome.
and
Yeah.
you sit there for 4 days in their chocolate cocoon, is what they call it, a brown room with no internet, no Wi-Fi, and you think about your life. What do you want in your life? What don't you want in your life? And about like 9 or 12 categories of life. And to tell you the truth, I don't remember shit from my life book, and whenever I opened it, I don't really relate to it at all, because it's like going to a Tony Robbins thing. Everyone comes up with the same fancy dream because you're surrounded by other people and they give you suggestions. But I do remember when they said, that's one of the things that like brought me to tears. Thomas had surgery, and it was surgery that he wasn't sure he was going to come out of, and he was pestering me. He's like, "Did you get that note I mailed you? Did you get that note I mailed you?" Like, he was like, "Give me an address." I mailed him. And it was a note where he told me like how significant it was for him, because I sent a painting of him and Cash the dog. It was one of the pieces that I sent to the moon. So and he told me how significant it was. Like, once I do something, like, I already did it, I forget all about it, right? Like, the only thing that's cool for me about the moon is I get to say my art is truly out of this world, right?
That's right.
It's the only reason I did that entire project. It took 2.5 years just for a stupid joke. And but yeah, I see that, and it's like, it means so much to other people, and that's what means something to me. But going back to the thing about, what does it take to get the commitment? For me, it was that pain, the heartbreak, realizing that, I am an artist, and for a whole decade I didn't do it. And so, yeah, I failed at it once. I'm going to do art every day. And here's the real key. So when I was at Life Book, they said, "What do you want? What don't you want?" And like I said, I don't remember anything from it, but oh my God. I'm just gonna have to look upward so I don't read them. They're all like so emotional.
Okay,
Like,
like, it's
the
good.
good thing I got the glasses. Yeah, like, no, but what happened was, like, book, they said, so what's your strategy to get there? And I thought about it, I'm like, well, I failed last time, and to create, to finish, to complete, make WordPress easy. Kate Buck Jr. held me accountable, and I was like, accountability works. And so I posted on Facebook, "Hey guys, I'm going to be posting a new work of art every single day. It might be a stick figure, it might be a masterpiece, but I'll be posting somewhere," because I knew that somewhere is some asshole going to go, "I knew you couldn't do it." And
Right.
you know what? If that asshole is still waiting, by 4,000 days, I said, I don't really give a shit if that person's still waiting. I feel bad for them if they're like that much of a troll that they're like, "All right, come on, one of these days he's gonna quit." And when I finished 1 year, people were like, "Oh, okay, now you can take a day off and celebrate." I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, and year 2, same thing. Well, once you take the weekend off, I'm like, the hell is wrong with you? Like, no. And like in year 3, and then people stop trying to tell me to take a day off because they realize that if they do, they're going to face my wrath because I took it as the biggest offense. But I will tell you that it also, so the thing is like, the answer is like, um, find, first, use accountability. It's a superpower.
That's right.
Accountability
Accountability is the best. It's just the best.
and whether it's a person or a group or just full blown public, like what I did. I use all different kinds. I later used accountability to get his abs. I never had those before. I said, all right, Facebook, I'm going to post my pictures of me in my underwear and the scale each week. And I figured that, each week I'd better get skinnier than last week. Otherwise, I'm going to hear all about it. And you know what? I got abs for the first time. But here's another important lesson. When on my birthday, I lifted my shirt, I looked up, I'm like, oh my God, and like I went out to celebrate that night with some friends in Austin. I said, hey guys, let's go get some ice cream cake and margaritas. It's my birthday. I don't need to go to the gym today. It's my birthday. I earned it. I ate this. And I was like, the next day, I'm like, oh my gosh, my birthday weekend. Then 2 years later, I'm like, fuck, I'm fat. Oh, what happened? Oh, it's like, so look, if you're doing something, don't stop, and trust yourself. If you're doing, don't listen to other people. Everyone else is projecting all over you nonstop, right? Oh, why don't you stop? It's been a year. Good job.
So Ori, so you just had the idea, like, do you think you got that from was anybody doing 100-day challenge, or you just got the idea?
I didn't get
I'm
the
going to
idea.
do it for as long as I want to do it.
I didn't. I was just trying to make up for having, never given myself the chance to be an artist. I never recognized that I was an artist. And when I was in Maui at those galleries, I realized that I am and have always been an artist, and I need to take it seriously. And when I combined the pain of having neglected the most important part of myself and combined that with public accountability, and then it became the commitment after a while became so strong. Like after they tell you 21 days to form a habit. That's kind of bullshit. It's 21 days to get started on a habit. It's more like 66 days, I believe, to really start a habit. And then at that point, I got way past that, and then became strong. Like I literally had friends asking me, like good friends, like my inner circle, going, "Well, when are you gonna stop?" And I don't know. I'm like, I need a good reason to stop. Like maybe I'll do like, oh, I'm releasing my book, or I'm doing this or that, and I couldn't stop. But the thing, and there was, I mean, it got to the point where like I could no longer do like a stick figure, even if I wanted to. It was like, because I'm like, no, I got too much pride. Like it's gotta be
a couple of your early ones a stick figure, maybe?
There's a bunch of them that were.
Yeah.
One time I took shrooms and like I couldn't draw anything. Like so it looked like I'm like, well, I'm working on expressionism or whatever, And then the next day I filled it in a little more. Like, did you know it was going to turn into this and stuff, And funny enough, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, funny enough, a lot of psychedelics and things like that don't even work on me anymore because I was working on, because I did so many different things that were I was so excited. Like anytime I was offered anything, I was like, ooh, I wonder what kind of art I'm going to make on this, right?
Right.
And so your brain can actually, as a defense mechanism, can filter out anything. Look at what Wim Hof does, right? They give him like the botulism toxins and all these other things, and he just does his breathing, and he gets the toxin out of his system without dying or getting sick. It's amazing. Well, my brain filters out psychedelics and all these things. There's just a waste of money now, like, because they don't work on me, because my brain was so committed to making the art that, like, I would, like, the effects wouldn't be there anymore, so that I can keep making the art. Because I was like, ooh, I wonder what I can make on this there. And but yeah, I did through everything. The 4,000 days is really a nebulous thing. You say 4,000 days. It doesn't. It's too big of a number. Like, people can't grasp infinity. Not the
More than a
4,000
decade.
days.
It's
Yeah, it's
10,
like
11
11
years.
12
years.
years.
You know? Yeah.
And
So when did you stop?
just stopped, like, kind of this year or late last year, with the daily. I'm still, well, I stopped sooner than that on posting it. I stopped around November of last year, I think. Maybe I lose track, because I was too busy making art for clients. So I was
Some
still
of these
working on
some
art.
of these comments you're getting are pretty amazing.
Oh, I know. That's what
that's
I was
great.
saying. Like,
And that's as a I'd like my art to reach more people, which it's just comedy. And I mean, maybe one day I'll get, but I understand how that feels.
What do you mean it's just comedy?
comedy is amazing,
From
dude.
the
Comedy
just.
saves lives.
Yeah,
Like,
I know. So I'm just saying, like, to get feedback like that is a lot.
It's
So I
awesome.
wanted to, we're at like 45 minutes. I really want to cover one thing that it's we didn't talk about this ahead of time, so I don't know what direction it'll go. But on this commitment aspect, so Tellman and I are doing this thing called 75 Hard right now, which is
I watch that porno.
no, that's the
Oh,
other
that's
one.
Bukkake. Never mind. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. So that's we don't want to hear your personal porno preferences. That's for sure.
That's a different
We
episode.
got a lot of
Different
fluffers. We're helping the
episode.
fluffer economy. 75.
Yeah. So anyway, it's mostly a fitness challenge, but it's also a mental toughness challenge. And I started at the beginning of it, I started doing it, and I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I should be spending my time on my creativity, on my creative on my creative life this time. So what would a challenge like that look like? And I think I sent you
You did,
what I'm working on. It's called
and I said that
75
I will
Heart
definitely
instead of
be
75
involved.
Hard. And it does start off with 75 days of doing your whatever their art is, whatever look, the bottom line is I'm doing it for myself. And if I can get 3 or 4 people to do it at the same time that I do it, great. I'm like, or whatever. It's not me doing it as a way to make money. I'm doing it so that I can focus on my creative life. I have a couple of shows in me that I want to write that I'm not giving myself the time to do, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, my point is that, the one of the components that I think that I'm excited to talk to you about is, that consistency of getting a habit started. And that was like, I will do this every day, you know, and like you said a moment ago, probably 60 to 70 days starts to get a real habit. I mean, if it's something that it's truly what you are wanting to do, then
75 is a great number for
yeah,
sure.
I think 75 for that is a really good number. But something that I'm getting from 75 Hard is, I know now every time we hear it, you can't unhear it. No, I make the joke too. When I tell people about it, I say, yeah, we just take a Viagra every day for 75 days. But Tom was like, I don't need to. I was like, okay, relax. No, we never had that conversation.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah. So, I still want there to be one of the things that I'm getting from it is it's also helping me like organize my life around this thing that I've made my number one priority, which frankly, yes, my fitness is important, but that's not my number one priority. My number one priority is getting my creativity on target. So it'll be that same idea, but for that. So what are the pieces? What do you think the pieces of it are? Like for you, what worked was accountability and public accountability, like like I've got that in there. I've got post something every day. Did you find like during, like, let's just talk about the first 100 days or so. what was your did your health take a second seat to that, or was it? Did you think it was important to you
No.
know?
As I got further into the rabbit hole, it took much longer. Like I would start going to sleep at like 5 p.m. the next day because no art, no sleep, and so like I would just I'd keep going until like 4 or 5 in the afternoon next day, then like sleep an hour or two, and then start on the next day's thing. My finances took a big hit because I was just working on just what's my daily art, which is okay. Think of it as an investment in my future because now I'm a way better artist. Look, I heard a quote yesterday in one of the masterminds I'm in. You are going to get much, much better at something if you are extremely focused on something for 1 month straight than if you dabble at it for a decade.
Right.
Right? Because and that's what happened to me. I will tell you that for sure, for a fact, that if I had not, let's say I didn't have that art show where I failed and I'm like, oh, not an artist. And so I kept fucking around with art and
Dabble.
whatnot
Yeah.
for that whole time. I still would be nowhere near as good as an artist as I am now because at that point I became focused. I wasn't just dabbling. And the thing is that, so to answer your question, there's a couple of things. One, go into it with intention. Intentions are super important. I can tell you, I could do an entire like 4 episodes on just on intention and the importance of that. That kind of goes with some of what I was telling you yesterday, Tellman, this stuff. I'm like, well, I don't know if you want this on the show or not, but like a lot of that goes with intentionality, right?
Right.
And so just go into it knowing that, yeah, okay, first of all, in order to be amazing at anything, you have to be willing to be absolute shit at something. If I was to pick up football right now, I know I'm going to get made fun of because I'm holding the ball wrong and I'm throwing wrong, and little kids can do a much better job than I can. And, it's embarrassing and all that stuff. So I know that going into it, right? You're going to be like,
that's the other thing though, dude, about wanting to become amazing at something is that you're going to feel that way for years. Because if you're
yeah.
actually trying to become amazing, like the people who are amazing are kicking ass in comparison to where you're at right now. So it's just like your comment about thick skin earlier, like that daily commitment of really.
The funny thing is, a lot of people thought that I was amazing years before I thought I was amazing.
Right.
Now I know, like this thing above me. This is a 70 inches by 40 inches piece. This piece here behind me is
Here, let me show everybody what that looks like.
No, yeah, like trying
Harris, it's not glitching out anymore.
Cool.
well, it is just Harris. Just don't move. It's when you're moving that it does the thing. There you
Here,
go.
let me try this.
There's Harris's. And so a lot of these, like this gal here, I'm trying to figure out which way is which. It's doing the reverse mirror thing, but like this, there we go. This gal here, she told me that her dream, everything that she's done, everything that she will ever do, is in order to create, palm-sized holograms, like Obi-Wan Kenobi and stuff. So I made this and surprised her with that, and I sent her 2 copies. I sent it to her office.
That's cool.
She works at Proto Hologram, like a company that actually makes holograms and stuff. Like you can blow people away. And that's what I was saying, like if you go to I made this link public. If you go to my my YouTube, it's Ori Bengal. I haven't updated in forever. Oh, I love that guy. So it's you can see amazing but pretty standard reactions to Ori's art, right? And it's what I was saying, like 4,000 days. It's nebulous. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. But
well, no, I mean, I don't think you're even.
No, but if you watch the reactions video, that that shows you what 4,000 days actually translates into. You see these pieces behind me, and that doesn't even mean anything. You see the reactions. You don't even need to see the pieces. You see people crying. You see people going speechless. You see people going, wow, I have never, ever seen them speechless before. You see William Shatner going, oh, now that's gorgeous. When his executive producers were trying to warn me, they're like, Bill's 93 years old. He doesn't have a filter. They're trying to warn me.
He might not like it, guys.
I know what I can do now, right? It doesn't matter what warnings I get. I know I can deliver every single time because I've put in 10,000 hours to mastery. I'm at like 100,000. I'm actually, if you consider all the stuff before I was even 35, I'm at like a couple 100,000 hours. But it doesn't matter. Look, so you have to be willing to suck. But here's the thing: going into your 75 heart and such, it's know that like a lot of people go, oh, the thing that I do at the end of the day that makes me feel good, right? It's like, oh, I can't wait to watch my Netflix, or I can't wait to get a massage, or I can whatever it is that makes you know that this thing that you're doing is something that you're doing for yourself. Like, go into it with the intention that this is the thing that's going to make you feel good. Don't worry about if you suck at it. Right. So what? Who cares? Don't compare yourself to other people. And there's a great quote: don't compare your day 1 to someone else's year 40. Yeah. That's,
well, that's so much of that is about being present in the moment with what you love instead of desperately trying to get to the outcome. Right? Like to be in it, to be in the sea of creativity or whatever the thing is that you're improving, getting good at, committing to. Like, you need to,
even if you don't even
process know that and love the struggle. Like you need to enjoy the process of getting better, not constantly needing the end result.
It's a meta skill. Like you're learning how to get better. You're learning how to learn. Like, that's why I learned.
I want to cover something too. Like, and we're almost at an hour, and I do want us to get
what I tell you.
I know.
Well, always happens.
Yeah, for sure. So by the way, this makes me think of a book that I'm reading right now called Big Magic, which is by the author of Eat, Pray, Love, and she very much talks about like people they hold themselves back because of these things that we're talking about. Like they don't think they're not good enough, and that she's like, then do it anyway. Like, and you said doing something you love. She says, you know what, you're not always going to be passionate. Like, she actually doesn't even believe that. She's like, chase something that you're curious about and see where it leads you. Try that. Just don't even because a lot of people tell me, how many people do we talk to in our line of work, teaching internet marketing, how to use internet marketing, like, and we want to say, what are you passionate about? And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know what I'm passionate about, and
it's a common thing. And even if you do know it, you sometimes.
I was not passionate about internet marketing when I got into it. I was curious. And I chased that curiosity and created a summit and blah, blah, blah,
I was in college. I was curious.
Well,
I am curious.
I would suggest that curiosity is a spark of love. Like honestly.
Sure.
Curiosity is a hint. It's a hint. It's a guide. It's a compass. But here's the thing: like, you don't know. You're like, you see something. You feel that impetus. You're like, oh, that looks cool. I wonder what that is. Like, underwater basket weaving, huh? So you try it, right? But we're willing to suck at it, and then you'll find out if you actually like it. And you definitely start there's a couple of things that make you like it, and sharing it publicly is great. That's, eventually you get the thing. People are much nicer about it. A lot of people, even with my shitty first things, were like, wow, this is great. They weren't as shitty as I think.
Figure composition. I like how balanced it is.
I didn't start with stick figures because I already had, studying
Right,
this
right,
stuff for video games and 3D animation and all this stuff that I wanted to do. I already knew a lot of the fundamentals. I wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was, right? But it was sharing it publicly because, when I was a little kid, I got made fun of by my
Right.
friends because,
Right. Yeah.
I didn't know
It stings. It
foreshortening.
leaves a mark. Yeah.
And so, we have all these, get yourself a hypnotherapist like Tellman, and get rid of
That's a
that
great
like
idea, Ori. That's a really good
unresolved
idea. Yep.
Where would they
childhood
go to? Where
trauma.
would they go? Where would they go to hire you, Tellman? I guess just go to
You
tellmanandfellman.com
go
and
to
write back.
tellmanfellman.com and shoot me an email. I'll tell you about it. I don't want to take the spotlight off Ori at the moment, but we can do a
But
hypnosis
no,
show
it's
later.
it's
Yeah.
look, I said it semi-jokingly, but also at the same time, I was not joking. And recently, like a month and a week ago, I had issues where I had uncontrollable procrastination, and I was at the end of my rope. It was really bad, like it was really bad, and I had to get in and I spoke to a hypnotherapist. I didn't hire him. I had a conversation. He's in one of the masterminds I'm in, and he mentioned that a lot of these things, your subconscious mind has a million times more control over your body than your conscious mind does, because it controls your heart rate, your
All the
blood
stuff.
pressure,
Yeah.
everything, stuff that you can't do. And so you cannot win this fight. And it's an emotional mind. It was formed when you were born, before you were really born even. And so it deals with like emotions and images and things like that, and it's a childish mind. And if you blow off a child when it's trying to tell you something, it's going to throw a tantrum.
That's
So
right.
a tantrum might look like self-destructive behavior. It might look like uncontrollable procrastination. And I used a lot of things. I used willpower at first. I was really well known for not sleeping, and I could go for 3 days without sleep, no problem. Then I'd start getting a little grumpy, and I'd be like, yeah, I should probably sleep. But even then I'd sleep like a little bit. And then I used sometimes I'd have to use stimulants like the William Shatner piece. I only slept an hour a day, and that was just to avoid sleep psychosis, nothing else. And both legal, illegal, you got Adderall, you got like whatever, it doesn't matter. But it was like, but even that stopped working. The mind adapt. The subconscious mind is stronger than you are. So
Right.
then I would just be really amped, but still procrastinating. And I had
Right.
to deal with that. And it turned out that it's not trying to force myself to go faster and harder. It was actually like relaxing, taking it slower, and trying to speak to my subconscious mind. And it worked. And I actually told Tellman yesterday, I need to talk to you about this because I still have some issues with that. It is very powerful stuff. So I'm not trying to, I am shining the spotlight on Tellman because it doesn't have to be Tellman. It's like hypnotherapy. And it's the fact is that we all have some unresolved subconscious trauma,
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we're all mostly our subconscious mind, and we don't have awareness of what it's doing and working on and why.
and,
It's just we don't.
and so a lot of like one of my most destructive things was thinking that like the misconception that addiction to stress, which I had, that depression that I didn't know, and that uncontrollable procrastination, I thought all of these things were just part of ADHD. Oh, ADHD, whatever. But they're completely separate things, and three
Right.
of them I was completely unaware of, and I
Right.
found them accidentally. I had some really good luck. I mean, I have ridiculous, but yeah, and that's leading me forward. You guys like to talk about past, present, and future. When we talk about future, I'm setting up a fashion brand, Lux Aureus, because every
Yes.
single product is going to be a Lux Ori product. Everyone likes luxury stuff, and I'm setting up a graphic novel, Ori's Odyssey, and that's going to be the new form of my daily creation.
That's awesome.
Because going back to what I was saying is, about what you said actually, Tellman or Harris, is that I was doing it for me. I didn't necessarily know that I was doing it for me because there was the public commitment, right? Like the accountability. Well, is it for me or is it for the people out there? You know, it is a little confusing. And but what happened is that, you know, in the last, let's just say, year, to round it off, of not doing it every single day, I feel different. I'm not as happy. I'm not as fulfilled. There's days where I'm frustrated, you know.
Right.
And so yeah, I want my daily commitment. And it doesn't have to be art. It can be like writing. I'm great at writing. People always like comment when I take time to write a long post. People are like, "Wow, you're writing so good." And I'm like, why don't I do more of this? I actually love it. I get lost in it.
Right.
Anything you can do that you can get lost in, other than like going to woods on shrooms, because that's a separate getting lost. But you know, like any craft that you can do that you just like you flow state. And by the way, shout out to Stephen Kotler, Kotler. He's got the best books on. He is
Brilliant.
brilliant on flow state. I highly recommend The Art of Impossible. I think
I haven't read that yet.
Oh, dude,
Cool.
that is fantastic. It's the best one. It's like a step by step, and because of your mind and how you think and you like to understand things, I also recommend Mapping Cloud 9. But regardless, like Stephen Kotler, start with The Art of Impossible. People, it's a how-to manual for flow state, and anything that you can do where you can get into flow state is gonna make you feel amazing. Flow state is addicting, but it's a positive addiction, because unlike like drugs or other things or stress, you can't just do it.
It's an obsession,
Like,
but it becomes an obsession.
but it's a positive one, because in order to do it, you have to reach something that's like 104%, you know, so it's like 4% more difficult than what you can currently do. So
Right.
you have to keep innovating. You have to keep pushing yourself to get better.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
So
a
I
good
just wanted to share this with you because I often say that, you know, I felt addicted when I first started doing magic. And then I'm like, okay, no, a better word might be obsessed, because addiction does sound bad. Although I do make the truthful joke that I felt like I was cheating on my wife during that time. But it turns out, no, I'm just kidding. But I just looked up on
the
ChatGPT.
trick where you made the dildo appear, you know.
Yeah, there you go. It's just a massager. Relax. It's
Pull the
magic
rabbit
wand.
out of
Yeah. You pulled the vibrating rabbit out of the
cat.
yeah. Anyway, so I want to wrap it up with this one thought. Okay, the thought was, what is a positive word for addiction? And I asked my friend ChatGPT while we were talking, and the word, to bring it full circle, is passion. The positive word for addiction is passion, something that you want to do positively. You disagree?
I would say that I would disagree. I would say
Yeah,
that
that's fine.
passion is a separate thing, and I would say that passion can lead to addiction. Addiction, by definition, and from experience, also, I can tell you that it's when you get into something, anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, watch the movie Get Him to the Greek. I've seen that so many times, and I cry every single time. But it's, you know, his girlfriend Jackie. I'm like, you took yoga and you turned it into an addiction. You can turn anything into an addiction. And it's true, right? Whether it's healthy food or this or crack or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's when something that you are doing takes control over you. You don't have control over it, it has control over you. So, you know, if someone's doing drugs and it's recreational, and that's fine and good if they're not, you know, but then all of a sudden, when it takes control over their lives, and now they're like, you know, losing productivity because of it, or they're harming their relationships over it, and they can't stop, that's addiction.
Right. So when it's causing harm to you or others.
And art was doing that. After a while, I wasn't getting sleep. I wasn't going out, because I'm like, sorry guys, you know, I would be at a party and I'd be like, yeah, sorry guys, I gotta go make some art, and it would entertain everyone else, you know, and it was great. But at the same time, like, my life was suffering. I was, because I was so obsessed with this. That's more than just passion.
Right.
That's addiction,
Yeah,
right?
no, that's addiction. No, I agree that reached an addiction level. But we were talking about, like, the
Well,
thing that,
I don't think that the opposite of it, the opposite of something is not that. The opposite of black is not white. The opposite of black is not black, right? And so on. It's like, I mean, if you're being like technical with definition, I'm very frustrating with words. Anyone who dates me like has to, have really thick skin, and a great sense of humor and endurance, a lot of endurance.
yeah.
But it's 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 important, right, to know what you're talking about. But to go back to the 75 heart thing and anything, it's like, look, you guys went into this show, right? You're willing. It's okay for the first couple episodes. Let's say the first 60 have to suck. After you have Ori,
You're number
everything's gonna
60,
be.
Ori. You're number 60. Everything's
That's
up
the
next.
point. He knows. He was paying attention. He was paying attention. He said it.
Uh,
They
uh,
stuck up until
uh,
now.
yeah. What'd you say? No.
I said it could. No.
No, but yeah, like it's okay to not be great. I watch some podcasting shows, right? They're like, yeah, don't even message me until after you've got 100 shows in the can, right?
Right.
Like, it's like you're not gonna be. It's easy to think like you. It's what I say. Don't compare yourself to anyone. Can look at like Alex Hermosi and go, I can do that. Well, yeah, but he's been doing it for years. Joe Rogan, when he
Right.
started, people are laughing at him. Go,
Right.
now who's laughing,
Right.
right? But so start and keep going and don't stop. Look, 75 heart is great because once you get to 75, the point is that you're probably going to keep going past 75. The 75 is just there to get you moving.
We'll
If you're
start
doing
it.
75,
It's prime the
if
pump, Yeah.
if you're doing 75 hard, and I'm not talking about the porno thing now, I'm talking about like the actual movement that you're reading, you're going outside, you're doing, that is difficult because that also takes up a lot of your day.
Sure
And it's a
does.
lot of like
But it forces you to organize your day.
it does, but it also, for a lot of people these days, have very busy lives, and it's very difficult to maintain your life and do that. So sure, do that, but are you going to keep going with it?
Right. No, it's
It's
not
it's
meant
meant to
to.
be cyclical. Like I mean, it's that particular thing is designed to be cyclical. It's designed to do it
But
for a while, take a break, and see what settles.
But I'm talking about with what you asked me. Let's say, forget art. Let's just talk entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurialism. You want to do your thing and you want to keep going, right?
That's
It's
right.
the point. How do you get to 4,000 days of running your business and checking it, the stats and innovating
Well,
every single
that's interesting, Ori. I've never thought about, I've been running a business every day for way freaking longer than 4,000 days. I never even considered it. You know what I mean? Like, I've been an entrepreneur for a long ass time, and don't even give myself credit for it. So that's interesting.
Well, we're split screen, so I can't pat you on the shoulder, and I keep getting it wrong. I'm patting Harris's shoulder now. Like, oh, there we go. I'm trying to get yours, but the fact is, but are you doing it every day, right? And so you've been doing it for this long, and are you looking at your stats every day? Do you have a dashboard? And are you interacting with your clients every day? Are you posting a social media
Right.
thing every day, right? Like, it's a pain in the ass to do sometimes, and
Totally a
at the
pain in
same
the ass.
time, if you do it, it's like having a freaking kid. Hypothetically, I don't have any that I know of, so like, I just, but it's, you're supposed to feed them every day.
That's right.
You're
That's right.
supposed
You
to
got to
like
do that.
shower every day. You're supposed to, like, you're supposed to like
That's pretty
nurture
funny too. A lot of people say, "Oh, my business is my baby." I'm like, "Do you feed it every day?"
Yeah.
You know?
You got a pretty ugly, sick baby, you know? Like it's like my baby's got some mental issues. You gotta love it anyways. Or, I mean, your business you can kill off,
Oh yeah, I
it's
killed a
like
few of them.
yes,
Yeah, I killed a few of them.
time to kill this baby and have another one. It's my parents. I'm 48 next month, and my parents are still trying to have that retroactive abortion. It's terrible. I have to keep hiding. Why do you think I keep couch surfing? They don't know my address. Every time they find out I move, it's like little hitmen show up. Like, Mom and Dad, say hi. No, okay, my parents are great. They love me for some reason.
Well, I think unfortunately we have to let you go. Maybe we can do this again when we get to number 4,000. No, maybe hopefully sooner than that.
Hey, why don't you get me at 69?
There you go. That's just 9 away. Just 9 away. You wish, baby. You wish.
I was like 60. Oh, you could have waited 9
Could have
more
waited
episodes.
9 for him. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
I'm happy to be here. Anytime you guys want, seriously, I always have like hours and hours of talking to do. So,
Great. Well, we really appreciate you being here. It's been great. It's been inspirational for me just to hear this, and I'm hoping that it'll be, inspirational for. Clearly, you've already been an inspiration to a lot of people, a lot of your people that have commented. This was one of the most engaged audiences, so just know that and be proud of that. And we appreciate you sharing it with your audience, and I'm glad we got to know that some of your audience got to know us too. So,
that's right, guys. So if you want to find out more about Ori's adventures, which I highly recommend that you do, is go to theartofori.com and pay attention to him. Join his email list, assuming you have one, and follow him on socials and all the things. And Ori, absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for being here on the show with us today.
Yeah, let me say one more thing because it really ties everything together. If you look at my bio and whatnot, well, first of all, if you want to connect with me, my Facebook is probably the best. Facebook.com/Ori.Bengal. My Instagram is probably a good place to sort through the images because it doesn't have all my stupid funny posts about fart jokes or whatever I'm doing that day. And but I haven't posted on Instagram in a while. But what I wanted to say is, this show is about marketing, as you said, right? It's you guys are getting the community and stuff, and the world of internet marketing is what really gave me a lot of purpose, and it gave me a lot of direction, and connected me with some of the greatest people. It's where I first finally felt like I belong and I'm part of. And I now tell people all the time that marketing is the greatest skill in the world. And I absolutely mean it, because if you have the cure for cancer, but nobody knows about it, are you really curing cancer? And so because of art, I tell people I'm an artist. I'm so much more, but it's easier for people to consume, to understand, okay, he's an artist, because people just expect one thing. But I would not be successful or anything at art if I did not have all of these years and all of these contacts in marketing. Because of my time in the internet marketing world, I had an audience to broadcast to, and I understand all of these meta skills about, sure, list building, even though I don't really have a list right now and stuff.
We gotta work on that there, buddy. We got to work on that.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Look, I know what about me gives value to me and all that stuff. I can add all that stuff in, and and I'm going a lot bigger now. That's for next episode.
That's right.
We'll focus on the future. But I just want to tell you guys, that the stuff that I learned from these guys, from these guys specifically, and from everyone else in the community, and the stuff that I innovated on my own. Internet marketing is, I actually backed out after a while. I was like, geez, this is too spammy. But I mean, it's got marketing in the title, so what do you expect, right? But it's the stuff that I learned is world changing, is life changing, and I use it to change every single person that I come across. I change their lives because of the things that I learn internet marketing. It is the greatest skill, and I think also has the greatest people. So like, yeah, like make
Awesome.
that part of your 75 as well as whatever thing you're passionate about. All right, now you can go.
All right, great. Thank you guys so much thanks everybody for joining us. We really appreciate you watching episode 60.
And you know what? Thank you to everybody that commented and interacted, especially all of Ori's super fans. Thank you guys for being part of the show and saying hi and
I was really surprised.
Really, really cool. That's been awesome.
Nice. Yeah, that was
and
nice.
If you guys want to get on our email list and get access to all of our previous episodes and updates for all of our future ones, tellmanandfellman.com is the place to go. You can go and join our list there. And then again, if you want to follow Ori, theartofori.com, or find him on social. This is awesome. And yeah, we appreciate you guys all being here. Ori, this was a great episode. Yeah. And Thomas Fouts agrees.
Yeah, I just really, and I got interesting. Like, thanks to everyone that commented. Like that, I was extremely moved. I thought I was just gonna be hanging out with these two clowns, and like I was not expecting like all this serious, like emotional stuff. That threw me off my game a little bit, you know. But it was just fine. I'll take it any day. Like this is, it's like that. The reactions video, you know, that's what 4,000 days does. You know, it's connecting with people on a real level. You know, I'm gonna be thinking about this for quite a while. Like,
great.
That was amazing. Thank you guys. Thanks everyone.
Awesome.
Bye.
All right. Thank you everybody. Thank you, Harris. Thank you, Ori. And we'll see you all tomorrow morning.
Bye everybody.
Over and out.
Can't wait to share this with my mom, who was an art teacher for 35 years.
Nice.
There you go.
Cool. Thanks everybody. Have an awesome day.